What up, guys? How we doing? I was literally trying to figure this whole thing out, and so it just changed the scene on me. But welcome back. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Um, we're on Facebook. We're on Twitch now. We're on YouTube. And we're on Periscope. Although I totally butchered that and was trying to get that up. Yeah, having all sorts of weird issues on my side, but hope everyone's doing well. It is Saturday. If you guys missed it, I was on the AJ show with Adam Grego, talking ball per usual. But I figured we do the live stream a little early, so that's what we're gonna do. That's simple. Hope everyone's doing well though. How's everyone doing? What's up, Will? Scott, how we doing? Let's see here. I'm just waiting for people to come in. And yeah, I'm gonna get this thing going, and I'll be right back. So let's do that. I'm gonna put it back on the starting soon thing. I'm gonna share this around, and then we'll start the show, and it'll be interactive. Don't worry. I have I have some things I want to get off my chest in regards to the safeties in the NFL. So we'll be talking about that. 1 second though. Welcome back, folks. Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday. Happy to be back. If you guys just were talking to me, it's because I had all sorts of weird stuff going on. So we got everything. This is what happens when we try to share everything and try to put everything on all these platforms. I'm still getting used to it. Not the professional in streaming, that's for sure. But hey, happy to have you guys. Happy to be talking about this stuff and. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a show today. Gonna be fan interactive, but I'm gonna start off the usual. Have a topic. You know, discussing the safeties. Discussing. I talked about it a little bit if you saw the AJ show. Just discussing the franchise tag because I think coming into this year, it's an unprecedented offseason. And I'm looking around the league and I'm thinking, well, there's not a ton of safeties in this draft class that I would feel comfortable with starting day one. And this isn't the best pass rusher class either. So because of that, I think teams are going to look around the league and be like, well, that free agent might be a good option. I think this is a big year for the free agents. So with that being said, there's going to be a lot of 1-year deals. But on top of that, for the guys that aren't signed for 1 year, you just see Justin Simmons get signed by the Broncos. You see the Bills, they signed Micah Hyde for a 2-year deal. So I think it's definitely something to keep in mind that, look, these guys are getting, taken off the board. And, I'm looking at a team like the Rams, like the Buccaneers. They have 2 players that deserve, a big contract and, are both worthy of the franchise tag. You look over at the Buccaneers, they have Chris Godwin and they have, Shaq Barrett. One's a wide receiver, one is a edge defender. I think they lose one, they might keep the other. The Rams on their side, they have John Johnson, who I think is most likely the guy that they would tag, and then they have Leonard Floyd, who he's kind of a guy who really good run defender, but let's be honest, he just had his first really good season in the NFL, and he's 28 years old, so you have to keep that in mind. So we're going to get into that. Before we do, I have to, do the usual, since I am and Downtown Rams, sponsored by Manscaped. Support for the Jake Ellenboga channel and Downtown Rams brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology and their developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. And, of course, for you listeners and viewers out there, we have an exclusive offer for you. If you like the show and you like the idea of getting a Manscaped grooming kit, you can get 20% off and free shipping now by going over to manscaped.com and typing in JKB or DTR in the promo code section. So again, 20% off, free shipping, Manscaped. Go do that. All right, so now that that's done. Also, of course, this whole thing is sponsored by Manscaped. I want to make that very clear. So we're going to be talking about it. Free agency is going to be crazy. If you guys don't already know, I'm planning on doing a live stream throughout free agency. We're going to do it as soon as we get some details on stuff. As soon as the tampering period starts, I'm going to be doing a live stream. We'll talk about it, as more stuff comes up. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a great way to interact. And if anybody is watching and has a question about, I see my team's meeting with, insert pass rusher here. What do you think about this? And I'll be able to tell you, and we'll be able to go over it. So that's the plan. But yes, Scott B, Jake, early stream. Yes, this is actually the new schedule. I'm a little bit late. Originally I was going to do 5, so I'm early, but the new schedule is on Saturdays. I go live at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's the new thing. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I go live at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you don't know the news, Steffi Smalls will be basically my co-host every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So she is, quote unquote, joining the show for the live streams on Wednesday. That'll be her day. So we'll have some fun doing that. Look forward to getting some guests on. Also, if you guys don't know, for the NFL draft, we have a big draft show we're planning. Me, my cousin Adam Grego, and the co-host that I have for Downtown Rams, Alexis Kraft. We're planning a giant draft, live stream, and we hope you guys will show up. It'll be on literally every platform, and it'll be on every type of channel on every platform. So you'll see it on this channel, you'll see it on AJ's show, you'll see it on Adam Grego's YouTube, you'll see it on Alexis's. We're going to have this spread out far and wide, and we want you guys to join it. So what's up, Renee? How we doing? Rob, what's happening? I'm thinking Brockers will be the biggest name we lose. I think we'll also see 3 to 4 contract restructures to get under the cap and free up money, and we'll see who we can afford to sign. Yeah, I'm hoping that Brockers isn't gone for the Rams. I think, when you look at what Michael Brockers can do, I think it's almost invaluable what he means as a leader. He's very, very important for that defensive line. He's very important for that team, and I think there's a lot of people that look at him and they say he's a product of Aaron Donald, but I mean, let's be real here. He could really anchor the middle of that defense, and he's been huge for them. He's been a tremendous leader. And I think, part of the thing is I think having guys like William Hayes around him early in his career, I think helped. So I think, but he's been that guy since LSU. And I just think that, the Rams would be getting rid of a significant piece to their defense if they let him go. Plus when I had, Steve Weish on the show, the Downtown Rams show, with Alexis and I. And basically, before he was even a free agent, he came on and said the Rams love him. They love him, and they're going to try and keep him around for as long as they can. And sure enough, he ended up leaving in kind of a weird situation there, went over to the Ravens, and then he came back. So, yeah, I mean, this is a guy you don't let go of. He's getting paid a lot, and I get that, but he's worth the money. And you'd only be saving, what? You'd be saving $5 million, and he'd have like a $4 million cap penalty. I just don't see the point, and so I'm really hoping they stick by him. But looking at the name of the game here, with the franchise tags, I wouldn't put a franchise tag on Leonard Floyd. I'm gonna say it right now. Leonard Floyd, one, he's not gonna be. It's not like a perfect fit anymore. He was with his defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley, a guy that he coached. He coached Leonard Floyd in Chicago as a linebackers coach. So they reunited that. That was a great duo. But I think now, you have to look at that and think, he might want to go to the Chargers. And, it might not be a perfect fit anymore. And I don't think it is. Plus, the way the Rams have gotten talent to work alongside Donald, it's Donald making things work. So because of Donald, I feel like the Rams could plug and play a lot of guys at the edge position. Most notably they've done with Fowler, and they did with, of course, Floyd. So I think that it'll be interesting there to see what they do in regards to that. It's definitely going to be something to keep in mind, and I'm going to be watching for sure. Now, with John Johnson, you have to keep this in mind. John Johnson is the guy that they should tag, regardless if they want to keep him or not. First off, John Johnson, after today, just became the most valuable safety in all of football that's available coming into this free agency class. Whether you like him or not, here are the facts. John Johnson was up there arguably with Justin Simmons, and he was up there with Marcus May, and he was up there with Micah Hyde. Well, Micah Hyde just had a 2-year extension. He's good to go. But when you look at Marcus May, he's a guy that's probably going to get tagged by the Jets. There's already rumors about it. And I look at, say, Justin Simmons, he is so important to that defense over in Denver. And I said it on the AJ show earlier today. The Denver Broncos aren't as far back as people think. They're not a bad team. They dealt with a lot of injuries. They had a guy by the name of Von Miller who they lost to injury before the season started. Sounds like they want him back. And on top of that, Drew Lock is somebody that, he's a young quarterback. He hurt his he hurt his shoulder and wasn't the same throughout the whole season. Furthermore, it's not just that, though. Cortland Sutton, their premier wide receiver, he was out for the year before the season started. So I think the Broncos are on the come up, and I think it's smart for them to tag Justin Simmons. Don't let him hit free agency. Don't try to outbid some of these guys. You're not going to win. So I love that. Now, why would the Rams do that with John Johnson? First off, he's the most valuable safety they've had in quite some time. And by quite some time, I'd extend it the last 20 years. The thing that John Johnson does that's very underrated is he calls the defense. He's taking all the signals because the Rams don't have a James Laurinaitis in the middle. They don't have a London Fletcher. They haven't had that. And so because of that, John Johnson has more to do in the back end of the secondary to get guys lined up. John Johnson also, the coach there, Coach Aviro, or Coach Evero, I think that's how you say his name, Ajiro Evero. Evero is still there. Aubrey Pleasant left, the cornerback coach, but the safeties coach is still there in Evero. So Evero, there's familiarity there. It's not like everybody's leaving. So I do like that. I think that's something to keep in mind. You just have that continuity. Plus, John Johnson, he went from being a top 15 safety to a top 10 safety. I'd argue he was, approaching top 5 safety level play. So I'm not about to let a guy like John Johnson go, especially not for a third round compensatory pick. Also, name of the game of this show. If I want you to take anything away from this show, I want you to remember when I say compensatory picks are overrated. Yes, I know. It's crazy. I know. You're getting a third round. It's overrated. I get it. It's crazy to think about, but hear me out when I say this. If you drafted John Johnson in the third round, okay, John Johnson's already worth more than that. So you're just going to get a third round back next year in an unprecedented offseason where you have limited cap space. The cap is going down for everybody in the league. You're gonna take a third rounder next year when you're trying to win a Super Bowl? No. The Rams could trade him away tomorrow and get a second rounder. That is a fact. And that is what they should ultimately do if they feel like they have to move on from him. They can't pay him. So what you do is you create demand. How do you create demand? You tag a guy and you say, screw you guys. You're going to have to pay. You're going to pay us. You're going to have to give us, assets to get him. You're not getting him. And I would totally agree with them for doing that. I think that's very important to keep in mind is you let, somebody like John Johnson go, he's gone. Okay. You're not getting him back. You're not going to outbid a Jacksonville Jaguars team if they want him that is going to have over $80 million in cap space. You're not going to outbid a New York Jets team that might want to pair him with Marcus May that has around $60 million. The Colts, are you kidding me? Chris Ballard? No. You don't want to outbid those teams, and you're not going to outbid those teams. So the best way to do it is the fact that he is the best safety right now available. You're going to want to tag him. And whether you get a second-round pick for him or you get a legit top 5 starter in the league, then you have to figure that out. But you need to tag him, no doubt. And another thing, I've heard, the safety position is devalued. That I totally disagree with that. I couldn't disagree with that more. Safety position is undervalued. The free safety position is undervalued. Maybe strong safety because you could say all these different linebackers could be a box safety, what have you. But free safeties and their ability, guys like John Johnson that can kind of go all over the field and do a little bit of everything. Guys like Justin Simmons, guys like Eddie Jackson, guys like Minka Fitzpatrick, they are invaluable. They can do everything. Their range opens up everything else for everyone. So I definitely wouldn't say that they're overvalued. That's for damn sure. So I think that's something to keep in mind as, free agency comes closer. Just looking at the safeties available, John Johnson is by far the best safety remaining. Unless Marcus May doesn't get tagged, then, it could be him or Marcus May. But it's definitely, you have to bring him back, in my opinion. You have to at least tag him, and then you decide whether or not to trade him or not. Maybe they get a first rounder. Who knows? But here's the thing. What happens when you trade John Johnson instead of taking the comp pick? The comp pick you get next year. The trade and the assets that you get come this year. So you could either get a second rounder this year or have John Johnson as your starter, or you can get a third rounder next year and not have John Johnson, still have to replace him. See what I mean? I don't get that. So I think that there's a very good chance that they could actually trade John Johnson for a second round pick, and you could be looking at the same scenario as last year. The Rams have 2 mid-second round picks where they got Cam Akers and Van Jefferson last year. I think it's very important in this draft not having a first round pick, giving up a third rounder in the Stafford deal. But, that's just me on that. So I'm just going to go through these comments, and multi-stream comments are actually working. Oh, cool. Awesome. So I'm seeing everybody now. Facebook, Thank you, Gilbert. I see you. Great job, my brother. Enjoying listening to the show, Rams Nation. Let's see here. Tag him, damn it. JJ's great. Renee, Gilbert, tag and trade for an offensive lineman. That'd be interesting. Renee, no, we can't afford to keep both. We're like 34 million over the cap right now. Are you saying the team will be Stafford, Woods, Cup, Whitworth, Donald, Ramsey, Brockers, JJ, and a bunch of rooks? Possibilities looking possible. The draft is safety deep. I don't think the draft is safety deep. I would disagree, Don, but I respect your opinion. Looking at this, I think this is one of the weaker safety classes I've seen in quite some time. There's not a Jamal Adams out there. There's not a Minka Fitzpatrick. It's a down year. There's not a Derwin James. Trayvon Moring is probably my number one safety. And I look at him and I think he's an early second, mid second round pick. So there's not even going to be a safety to me in the top 32. In my opinion. JJ3 is solid. I'd like to try to keep the defense together as much as possible when you're number one in anything. Don't screw it up. That makes sense. Let's see here. If you're keeping JJ, you're losing Brockers. You have to accept that. You're going to lose some people you don't want to lose in a salary cap league. You can't afford to keep everybody. Jake said we could have both. Here's the thing. Okay, so the Rams don't actually have to cut Michael Brockers or anybody like that. Very simply put, that they could do similar to what the Steelers did with Ben Roethlisberger. They could sign Matthew Stafford to a long-term deal in which would have dummy years. You saw it with the Leonard Floyd move. What you would do is you would average it out over stretch it out to say 2025. So what that would do by reworking the contract is it'd almost be like, it'd be a pay cut, but it'd be saving the Rams a lot of money. So, they could get down quite a bit with the Stafford rework. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they can restructure Woods, Kupp, Ramsey, and Donald, and they'd be around 30 million in cap space, not 30 million negative, but 30 million cap space. So I think that it's very doable. It depends, if Whitworth were to retire, they get 13 million back. I don't want Whitworth to retire. I've seen a lot of people saying they should cut him. Doesn't make sense to me. Those are just some options that they have there. They're not going to touch Hecker. I could see them getting rid of Brockers. I think it's very possible. I just don't want it to happen. But that's where I'm at on that, is that I think that there's a lot of things that they can do. I think Darius Williams will be back. I'm not really worried about that. But I think it's something to keep in mind for sure. And yeah, you don't need another safety. If John Johnson's gone, I don't think you have to replace John Johnson. I just think it's something where this is a guy that is so valuable that you don't want him to just go for nothing. If anything, at this point, I might just consider trading him for a second rounder. I try to get a first, but I would settle at a second. Let's see. I don't trust people who say cut Big Wit. Yeah. I can't say I do either. I don't know. Like, you have to have a plan, and I don't. If you feel like this is a team that's that close to a Super Bowl, I don't know why you'd be cutting him. I don't really understand the logic there. There has to be logic. You can't just be making moves just to make moves. Are the Rams going to be restructuring some contracts soon? DB Guys on Twitter says, okay, so I think sooner or later you will start to hear about it, but I think right now they're being quiet because something is being done. But we'll see. Yeah. No, the Rams 100% need Whitworth. So on the other side of the coin, the BUCS, they have more cap than the Rams, so they're in a different situation, but they can't bring back Godwin and Shaq Barrett for the same. So, that's going to be something where they're going to have to get creative there. If I'm tagging anybody, I'm probably going to tag Chris Godwin because I think he could command the most. He's so young. Shaq Barrett's a little older, but obviously Shaq Barrett's such a dominant pass rusher, you could see. Also, Rusty Productions, you mentioned Rob Havenstein. Totally forgot him. Yes, you could trade Rob Havenstein, save about $5 million, put the Rams around $35 to $40 million in cap space, and you can get some things done. But yeah, going back to Tampa, I could see them bringing back Godwin and then letting, I would I would tag Godwin and then trade him if you don't feel like you can get something done. This is going to be the year where things just happen that you don't normally see. We're going to see 7 restructures on a team. We've already seen it with the Saints. The Saints have to save so much money because the Saints put themselves in salary cap hell. The Saints were over $100 million in salary cap before the whole ability to get rid of guys even came up. So it's something to keep in mind there. You're going to see a lot of crazy stuff. You're going to see stuff where not the Broncos, the Bucks are going to have to make moves that are crazy. You're going to see a lot of 1-year deals, as Steffi brought up on Wednesday. You're going to see a lot of 1-year deals. You're going to see, some reworking of contracts, dummy years, as I mentioned. Things are going to get a little crazy, and the best GMs will win. So luckily, if you're a Rams fan, you feel good because, well, Les Snead is very good. If you're a Colts fan, Chris Ballard, you feel pretty good. If you're a Bills fan, you feel pretty good with Bean, Veach, with the Chiefs. It's like you have to feel good about in all those situations. But if you're like, down bottom of the barrel here, those teams are going to get stepped on. But we're going to see, though. We're going to see who cares about money more than winning a title. We're going to see who cares about money more than just wins. And I say that because the Jaguars have over $80 million in cap space. I don't think they're a team that competes for a title next year. Not with a rookie quarterback. They're expected to draft Trevor Lawrence. And I say that because if they do decide to go out and start spending that money, if they get they bring back Allen Robinson, $20 million per year, he's going to get his money. And it might not be somewhere else where he could have gotten his money, but keep this in mind is that, Allen Robinson is going to be really expensive. And so, not a lot of those contracts are going to go out where you see a 5-year deal. There's going to be a lot of 1-year deals because there's a lot of, uncertainty with the approaching future of the NFL and the lack of revenue they generated with COVID. It's just everything's up in the air. So it's just something to keep in mind as we go through this. Is it true the Rams don't feel like Bryson Hopkins is ready? That's why they asked about Ertz. I don't think that there's anything out there necessarily that suggests that they don't think Bryson Hopkins is ready. I think, if the Rams are probably looking at it, you have an opportunity to acquire Zach Ertz and put him next to Tyler Higbee. I think that's something that they just felt they had to consider. Can't really fault them for that. I wouldn't have liked the move, but I understand them, delving and seeing if, that's a possibility. McVay doesn't use the tight ends as much as other teams, as none of the Rams tight ends will be able to break out, even though they were very talented at the position. Higbee was the overall tight end 1 for a while. So I actually think a lot of that came down to Jared Goff, though. You could see Sean McVay wanted to use Tyler Higbee in a big way this year, and Goff just didn't have the confidence to airmail the ball downfield. I mean, he did not have that confidence that he had in previous years. So I think that held back Tyler Higbee as well as the injury he suffered. Keep in mind, this guy had 3 touchdowns against the Eagles in week 2. Looked like he was on the big come up of being, one of the elite tight ends in the league, and then fell off. I think a lot of that came down to the injury, and a lot of it came down to the fact Jared Goff wasn't looking his way deep down the field. Missed him quite a bit, and that's just something to keep in mind is now Tyler Higbee will have Matthew Stafford. Yeah, it's all going to be very interesting moving forward for sure. So I don't know, where are you guys on? What side are you guys on? Do you think that do you agree with the tag and second or first rounder this year, or do you agree with letting him go and then just getting a 3rd rounder a year from now? What's up, James? Really not looking forward to JJ3 leaving. Got to see him play for Boston College against Georgia Tech in Dublin in 2016. So I saw him ever before he landed in LA. Yeah, it would be tough to see him leave. I'm a big fan of his. I actually got a chance to meet him at the Rams after the Rams and Giants game in 2017. Great guy. Yeah, JG was slipping. Higbee should have had a strong season. JJ3 is a first or 2 second. That'd be interesting. I mean, I'm just being very conservative in a sense that I think that he could go in the 2nd round, or he could get a 2nd round pick. I'm not gonna just go for the whole thing there and say that he's a 1st round pick. So Yeah. I hear you. I'm sure that's not the easiest there being in Dublin. Just waiting for them to restructure so we can. Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Tag him and trade him, just get something out of it, but I'd rather not even let him go. Agree with that. Vinny, what's up? Higbee in a huge year with Stafford. Guy loves his tight ends. Definitely agree with that. Um, let's see here. Oh, you're not actually from Dublin. You just traveled up that day. Gotcha. Um, hope the stream looks good, everyone. I put it on super. I forget what it's called. Ultra low latency, so I can interact with you guys way quicker. There's not as much of a delay. You guys, let me know if you're noticing that. But tag JJ3 and try to re-sign him. Don't trade him, but tag and trade Floyd. Well, you can't tag two guys, so that's tough. To get a second for JJ, a team also has to have the salary cap space, and right now almost nobody has any salary cap space. Them giving up a number two on top of that is asking a lot. I got a Halo community mad triggered with a joke. um, yeah, so I don't think a second rounder is a lot to get a potential top five safety in a draft that doesn't have a top five safety. Um, so I'll leave it like that. I don't think it's asking too much at all. Couldn't resist mentioning that. Yeah. No, I hear you there. I disagree. I think free safety is very valuable, and I think people are underrating how valuable it truly is. Thanks, Renee. Yeah, I fixed something. There was something weird with the keyframes, so it would be like every other stream I'd be having issues, and it's because Streamlabs kept doing the auto keyframe and auto. Okay, so if anybody streams or like needs to have any advice on streaming, don't ever select anything auto. It never goes well because there's this auto, ooh, change the bit rate to, match whatever the auto says, or ooh, auto, keyframes, or auto, don't do it. Auto gives you all sorts of issues. It's garbage. Do not do auto. Like, it always screws me up. So I'm glad I figured it out. No more auto keyframes. We got 2 second intervals. Things are good. If they're not good, then I'll fix it. But yeah, things apparently look good. Although when I have Steffi on or any sort of guest on, during the week, that might not be as clear. The clarity might be off. The frames might be off a little bit, because with that, um, that is running a Zoom chat at the same time as streaming, so that's a lot of stress to put on the computer itself. I have everything going through through my CPU. Um, so that's that, just to explain. JJ3 is a luxury though, not a need. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say luxury, and I do think he's necessary for sure. Do you think Les Snead is planning something big? He could be. I'm sure Snead is working on which contracts to restructure, checking into if there's any sign and trade possibilities, and who he'll be able to Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if they could sign and trade Floyd and then tag and trade John Johnson if they don't want either back. I mean, I think they'd want them both back, but I just think that things are up in the air because, well, everything. He's the signal caller on defense. He is a need. That's my point. Is that they don't unless they plan on going out and getting a culture changing inside linebacker, like a Cameron McGrone in the draft out of Michigan, like a guy, you look at like a Jamin Davis out of Kentucky, Nick Bolton out of Mizzou, Zaven Collins out of Tulsa, unless they get a guy that's like a culture changing inside linebacker, that can, take on that responsibility, come in and not play like a rookie. John Johnson is more of a need than people give credit for. I will say that. Rams can draft, sign DBs. JJ is not worth more than 10.5 mil, says the Mike Bar 3. I disagree, Mike. I definitely disagree. I think John Johnson could command over 10.5 million pretty easily. I mean, I think he could get at least 14 million, maybe 15 million per year. And like I said, the Jets are an option here. The Jets could want to pair him with Marcus May. I don't love their safeties. Bradley McDougald's a free agent, a guy they got through the Jamal Adams trade. And I'll be honest with you, if they wanted to, tag Marcus May, sign John Johnson, have those two play next to each other, it'd be like a poorer version of Marcus May and Jamal Adams, but it'd be a really good, duo for sure. Floyd is replaceable. Aaron Donald will always elevate any edge rushers play. Oh, yeah. Floyd, I think, is replaceable. And I don't want to, just completely discredit him as a player, but I think, you could go out and you can find a guy in the draft or, I love Jordan Smith out of UAB. Love him. Hope he ends up being a Ram. But, I think him. I think, Carl Lawson could be an option. Right now, I'm kind of loving the idea of getting Jadeveon Clowney and then drafting Jordan Smith, but we'll see. James, he is a free agent, but May is expected to receive the franchise tag from the Jets. If he doesn't receive the franchise tag, then yeah, he'll be a free agent. But they're 1A, 1B right now in free agency if he doesn't get tagged. So, ultimate goal of front office should be keeping this 2020 defense intact. I agree with you, Ben. The counterpoint to JJ being the single caller need is someone else can take over when he's gone. It won't be like nobody will call plays. Someone will, probably Fuller. Yeah, I mean, it depends, though. They tried to do that with the linebackers, and they just preferred having Johnson do it. Do you really think Russell Wilson will be sent to the Bears for 3 first-round picks, Mac, and something like that? Don, I do not think that Russell Wilson will be going to the Bears for all that. I don't know if the Bears get him, if I'm being honest. But we'll see. I mean, maybe they do. Who knows? I don't think he goes there. I think he'll probably go to the Raiders if you ask me. I like Ja'Kai Polite, but it looks like they're done with him. So, it's a bummer. I really liked him, though, for sure. How would you rate Sneed's performance as GM out of 10? All time, throughout the time he's been a Rams GM, or this year? What are the parameters there? Also, it makes sense. The safety is the shot caller with everything in front of them. Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely. Tyree Gillespie, I like him out of Mizzou. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good pick for sure. I like Hamza Nasruddin. I'm thinking of Nasir Adderley. No, Hamza Nasruddin from FSU. I like him a lot. But, both all-time and McVay era. Okay, so all-time, I'd say Les Snead gets a 9.2 out of 10. I think he's been great. He's the best. Him and Chris Ballard are the two best GMs in all football. I've said that for the last 2 years. Hopefully they are coming up with a Havenstein trade partner. I like him, but I think we have a replacement. Yeah, I agree with that. There's not really a ton to like from the D line, to be honest with you. I look at it and I'm not overly impressed. There's the top guys are Christian Barmore from Alabama. He's probably gonna be one of the top guys, but aside from that, Jay Tufele from USC. I like Jalen Twyman from Pitt, and I like Darius Stills from West Virginia, but this isn't going to be like the best defensive line class ever. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really think there's going to be a first rounder out of the defensive line or safeties, which is why I think there's going to be a huge run on wide receivers. I think there's going to be a huge run on, quarterbacks, there could be a decent run on. And I think the top 4 quarterbacks could go in the top 5, if I'm being honest. Offensive tackle is huge this year. There's going to be a tight end by the name of Kyle Pitts in the top 15, probably top 10. And then, there could be a running back or 2 drafted. My guess, Najee Harris has an opportunity. Offensive interior, there's definitely guys there. And then maybe a linebacker or 2, like a Zaven Collins. Edge, you probably are going to get Micah Parsons, Pye. I'm not the biggest fan of Kwity Pye, but he'll be there. Corner, you have Patrick Surtain Jr., and then you have Caleb Farley, and maybe J.C. Horn finds himself into the top 32. But I mean, yeah, like overall, the defensive line and safeties are relatively, they're kind of disappointing. What's up, Masanori? How we doing? Let's see. I think Bill's GM is up there too. Yeah, no, when I was mentioning the top GMs, I said Ballard, Sneed, Veach, and what was it? Veach and Bean. I think Bean is the Brandon Bean, if I'm mistaken. That's the Bills, and Veach is the GM for the Chiefs. No, D line is far from a need for the Rams. If they lose Brockers or what have you, then you have Aaron Donald, you have Ashawn Robinson, you have Greg Gaines, and you have a guy who just has blown me away as far as the way he is moved up the rungs and has developed, and that is Sebastian Joseph Day. He went from being kind of a rotational guy to being legit, and I think that needs he deserves a lot of credit for that. They also have a guy who the defensive line coach, Eric Henderson, actually coached in college, Eric Banks. So that's somebody to keep in mind as well. I don't think that they'll go defensive line. Linebackers intriguing here. They were able to bring back Traven Howard. Because of that, you look at linebacker and, first and foremost, I'm a big fan of Troy Reeder. I think Reeder's your starter. And then I think next to him would be Traven Howard, and then you have Micah Kaiser and Christian Roseboom behind him with Kenny Young. So they have some guys there. I think they could definitely upgrade though. There are some linebackers I like. If somebody like Dylan Moses falls into the 3rd round, he's definitely somebody that I'd like. I love this linebacker group. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's a very good linebacker class. There's guys all over the place: Jabril Cox, Nick Bolton, Zaven Collins, Cameron McGrone, Dylan Moses, as I mentioned earlier, Jamin Davis, Garrett Wallow from TCU, and then I really like Charles Snowden out of Virginia, Baron Browning from Ohio State. So there's a lot of guys out there to keep in mind moving forward. Will the Oklahoma offensive line coach bring the best out of the O-line? I think the offensive line coach, if I'm not mistaken, is from Stanford. But I think he'll do a nice job. I'm interested to see what he does. I don't know much about him. But yeah. If Raiders get Wilson, do you think the AFC West takes the title of hardest division, or is it still AFC West? Good question. I mean, when you look at the AFC West, that would be Mahomes, Herbert, Locke, and then so Mahomes, Herbert, Locke, and Wilson. And then you have Stafford, Wilson, Wilson would be gone. I don't know who would be the quarterback. So then it's Stafford, 49ers. We have no idea who their quarterback would be. And then Kyler. I mean, they'd have an argument. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we know it's more defensive, but, Michael Hawk, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he signed a futures deal. What's up, AZZA? How we doing? This year's draft is catered to the Rams. It's loaded at wide receiver and OT, and Rams don't need either. Our O-line was number 3 according to PFF. Aside from Whitworth, we're young enough at other positions. Yeah. I mean, I think that the Rams could go interior. Austin Blythe is going to be a free agent. Looking at who's available, I would bring Austin Blythe back. If you want to go and draft somebody, fine. But with Matthew Stafford, don't test things. Don't test out a rookie. Just bring in, bring back Blythe, and then draft you draft an interior guy in the second or third round and have him be your utility guy, can play guard or, step in at center after, Blythe's contract's up. But I would bring back Blythe for sure. AFC North is the best division, Steelers, Ravens, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Browns too. Yeah, no, don't forget, the Bengals have a quarterback of the future, so they just need to build around him. I'm not worried about Joe Burrow at all. I think he's going to be one of the best, and yeah, no, I hear you there. That's a good point, Renee. Micah Kaiser misses a lot of tackles. He needs to really improve on that. Yeah, he does miss quite a few tackles. I think my biggest issue with Micah Kaiser, I've said this before, it's his lack of durability. I just don't think, like, he's always hurt, it seems like. Yeah, Blythe should be relatively cheap, but we'll see. Maybe he does want something. And Bobby Evans. What do you think about Anthony Barr? I think he's a solid linebacker that has a big name because he was drafted in the top 10, but I think he's been somewhat of a disappointment as of late. Quinn Miners at 57. I think that might be a little too high, in my opinion, for him, but, if you like the guy, you go up and get the guy that you want. That's true, James. If they don't protect Burrow, he's going to get into trouble for sure. Terrell Lewis and Micah Kaiser needed to okay ball this season. Obo 2. What's up, Chantry? How we doing? Last year, Blythe took a team-friendly deal. I feel like this year he'll want the bag. I mean, and Blythe deserves to get paid. I mean, he's a good center. I think he's very underrated by Rams fans, and yeah, I think he deserves some credit. What about a punt returner? You could find that. The Rams are going to look for a wide receiver, to stretch the field, so I think they'll probably try and grab one with that. I think we need to draft a future left tackle for when Whitworth retires because we lose Noteboom next year free agency. Yeah, I think they'll get Noteboom back, though. His stock won't be relatively high. He hasn't really had an opportunity to play a whole lot at left tackle. So I think the Rams will be able to keep him. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these tags. I just think it's smart right now to guys. Why am I okay, so Jake, last question. Why am I the member of Ramley besides Jordan that likes Curtis Samuel, says the Mike Bar 3. Okay, so I'll say this. Curtis Samuel would be awesome for the Rams, and he's 25 years old. He's a young receiver. He could do it all. Would be, that he'd be like what I'm sure Sean McVay wished Tavon Austin was his first year. But here's the problem, okay? He's going to be expensive. He's 25 years old, can do it all, played running back and wide receiver at Ohio State, showed off, what he can do with the Panthers offense. That's not a guy that's easy to bring back. That's not a guy that's easy to bring in. So the Panthers obviously would want him back, but he's going to be expensive, so they probably won't be able to bring him back. And I don't think the Rams will be able to bring him in because they don't have the cap space to shell out $15, $16, $17 million to a wide receiver when they had 3. So I don't see him doing that for that reason, but I'd be fun to have him. Obviously Sean McVay could do all sorts of crazy stuff with him in the backfield and, leaking out, and, he'd be fun to watch for sure. I just don't see it as it doesn't seem logical that they would be able to even do that. But if you're talking about Jordan Rodriguez, maybe there's some fire to that. Maybe that's you mentioned Jordan. If you didn't say Jordan Rodriguez, but if you mentioned Jordan and you're talking about Jordan Rodriguez, she would know that there's something up. So we'll see. I don't think there's anything wrong with upgrading Blythe. I just think when you have a guy like Matthew Stafford, you don't mess around and try to play, this game, okay? Like if you Blythe can play well, you just make it happen. Like you don't try to, shuffle the whole offensive line now that you have a new quarterback. especially if you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Kyle Juszczyk on this team would be interesting. I just think, to me, the fullback position's so devalued, and I don't think the Rams use fullbacks. I mean, I think Sean McVay gave it a shot. They drafted, what's his name, Rodgers out of Virginia Tech, and they didn't use him, and then they cut him. He didn't make the roster. So I think that's how much, that's how useful fullbacks are in this offense. Yeah. Kettner Cup, he didn't make the roster. I think, okay. I don't want to lose JJ either, but, I'm getting ready for anything at this point. So, free agency is going to be wild. I mean, that's obvious. I just think that, you should use the tag. I don't necessarily think you should 100% bring back John Johnson. Like, I'm of the type of person that believes if you want to use John Johnson, you want to bring him back or whatever, I'm all for it. But if you want to just, tag him and just be like, I'm done with that, like, then trade him, fine. I'm also for that as well. I'm not for waiting until next year and getting a third rounder. Just not. So I thought Nick Scott played well in limited opportunities. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be a fan of him outright replacing John Johnson. Like, if that was your way of saying, well, we replaced him, we have Nick Scott, I'd be a little pissed. But, I was wondering, I just got on, what is the latest on Wilson and Watson trade stuff? What's up, Paul? There's really not much. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks are having somewhat of a standstill. I don't know what's going to go on there. And the Watson stuff is super quiet. So I don't really know what's going to happen moving forward. But, I mean, we'll see. It's definitely something that has really shook up the rest of the NFL because, I've said this before with Deshaun Watson. What that did is it essentially made the entire rest of the league, aside from a few teams, have to have that tough internal conversation about whether or not the starting quarterback they actively have is the guy moving forward. And if they should go after Deshaun Watson. And I think a lot of those teams had that internal discussion. I think that's why you see all these teams and these rumors and these, it's something to keep in mind. A lot of Bears rumors. Yeah, a lot of Bears rumors. Okay, the Mike Barr 3. Let me clarify. Jordan just liked one of my tweets about Samuel. She's not on the record of saying it. Oh, yeah. Well, she was, so she used to cover the Carolina Panthers. So she actually had a chance to, like, interview and talk with Samuel, I assume. So that's probably what she meant. Yeah, okay. Feel that. Yeah, I just got my Yankees hat in because I lost mine years ago and I never really replaced it. So definitely not taking my cap off. I like the Yankees and I also like representing where I'm from. That's also the cool thing. It's funny because everyone tunes in. They're like, "Oh, you're from LA because you're wearing a Lakers hat. You got a Rams helmet on your desk." And no, I'm not. Demetric Felton to the Rams. I know they met, met with him. I think they did actually. I think they met with him at the Senior Bowl, or they talked with him. I don't know. I don't know how it works anymore. I don't know what meeting is anymore, folks, because now everything's digital, everything's virtual, and it's hard to keep in mind. Well, I think Nick is referring to Felton as a wide receiver. I know, Ray. I'd love the Yankees Dodgers in the World Series in 2021. That'd be awesome. If we let JJ walk, we will see difference. JJ held out secondary together. Rapp and Burgess not doing that immediately. That is something to keep in mind. While the Rams do have 3 safeties, you let John Johnson go out the door, and now you have Burgess, who had his rookie season cut short. You have Rapp, who hasn't been able to stay healthy. And you have Fuller, who's going into a second season, who, I mean, obviously you'd like to assume is really good, but maybe playing next to John Johnson helped him a little bit. So, yeah, that's a good point. Would definitely be Fuller, but the other safety position would come down to a camp battle between Rapp and Burgess. I think Burgess is way more suited to play safety than Rapp, if I'm being honest. I'm not overly impressed with Rapp. First off, durability concerns, and it's not the injury that, it's not the type of injury that Terrell Burgess had, which was freak. He's had some durability issues. Rapp has. Plus, I feel like Rapp is more. He is what he is. He's great operating around the line of scrimmage. Is somebody, he's a good tackler, but I don't love him in coverage. I think Terrell Burgess excels in coverage. Burgess can play the nickel, and he can also play safety, so I like him more for sure. Hey man, what's your thoughts on Ray Agnew and Brad Holmes? They just paired with the guys here. Yeah, so I think Brad Holmes is awesome. I don't know much about Ray Agnew, unfortunately, but I think Brad Holmes is a great get. This is somebody that, was the second in command after, Les Snead. He's been with the Rams since 2003. He worked his way up. He's a great story, honestly. Worked his way up as, a guy that interns in 2003. And then he stays there the whole time. And, obviously wasn't going to be a GM because they love Snead so much. But I'm sure in another alternate universe, he's the Rams general manager. And it's sad to see a guy that's homegrown like that leave. But I know they had good things to say about Agnew. And, everybody around the league seems to really like Brad Holmes. But I really like the pickup, to be honest with you. I like the fact he's a pay your dues type of guy, and he's worked out, and I'm rooting for the Lions, to be honest with you. I want to see them do well. I want to see Jared Goff do well. I want to see Brad Holmes do well. I want to see Dan Campbell shut everyone up that says that he can't be a head coach in the league, that suddenly forgot about all the success. I'm not going to say he was great, but the success he was able to have in those games with the Dolphins as an interim head coach, I want him to, kick ass, honestly. If I'm being completely honest with you, I'm rooting for the Lions, but we'll see. Who knows? Jake, do you know if any more Detroit Lions players have contacted Stafford by chance? I don't know which ones did. I just know Marvin Jones is one of them. I'm hoping Julian Okwara is one of them as well. Detroit may actually have a promising future. Don't forget they got Dorsey, too. That guy knows how to find players. That's a good point. Burgess is faster than Rapp, too. They're both pretty good tacklers as well. Rapp would be better suited as a hybrid safety linebacker. Yeah, I always call, everyone knows that listens to the Downtown Rams podcast, I always call Taylor Rapp a pseudo linebacker because that's to me what he is. But, 49ers at 12 on the draft board. Who do you think they take? Quarterback maybe? I think they trade up, and I think they're probably going to get like a Zach Wilson or somebody like that. I can't believe for a second that they would stick by Jimmy Garoppolo. There's no way. Dude is not healthy ever. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of his game to begin with. I mean, I just don't think he's that great in general. So I think they should move on from him for sure. There was something I was reading, and of course the YouTube thing goes up. Does it make a difference in player evaluation that the Rams didn't go to the Senior Bowl? No, they didn't go last year, so I mean I'm not really too worried about that. Rapp blowing that coverage against the 49ers a couple of years ago against San Fran still haunts me. Yeah, I hear you. Definitely. Campbell, this just in, Dan Campbell just kneecapped the clerk at Kroger when she overcharged him a nickel on a can of corn. You guys need to leave my guy Dan Campbell alone. I actually really like Dan Campbell. I'm 100% rooting for him. The amount of flack that he got for his for his presser, I just thought was ridiculous. I think the problem is we don't have enough guys like that. We have guys that are just, they'll read a card and they'll, sit there and they'll be robotic, but he said everything that he was actually thinking. So, yeah, definitely a Dan Campbell fan. Motor City Dan. Taylor Rapp reminds me of Mark Barron. Yeah, he's not as athletic as Mark Barron, though. Keep in mind, Taylor Rapp ran like a 4.7 40, something like that. Mark Barron was like a super athlete coming out of Alabama. Was drafted in the top 10. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of losing the 49ers either. You think so? Alex Smith. Wow, that would be something. if he if he went back to the Niners and went full circle, that would be crazy. I don't see that happening, but that would be something else. With the loss of so many front office personnel, is there going to be a difference in the quality of the draft? Um, with that, I think that's a really good question, Randy, over on Facebook. I think the thing you need to keep in mind is if there's any sort of difference, change or anything like that, it's important to keep in mind that, these guys, by all having kind of like they have their archetypes they focus on. So, like the guys that they had right now, or what they had before, they liked at least Brandon Staley. I know for a certain had a certain archetype that he looked at for like edge defenders. And so when you looked at, say, Terrell Lewis, and when he was drafted, 6'6", 260 pounds, that was their archetype for legit edge rusher in their system, edge defender. Now it could change the way they look at quarterbacks. It could change the way they look at every position. They're different guys there. What I will say is Ray Farmer, who didn't end up going to the Jaguars, he did take over as kind of the second in command after Les Snead. So you're still keeping that part of the building intact. I don't think it'll change all that much since they decided to promote from within. The coaches will change a little bit because they added new coaching, a new coaching staff. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't think it'll change all that bit. But I think that's a really good question, Randy, and I appreciate you asking that. Rams Twitter is like my source for anything on the draft because we get no college coverage in Ireland. I thought that about Alex Smith going back to San Fran too. Jake, I think Sam Darnold will be good for the 49ers. I got to say, I want to see the Jets actually give Sam Darnold a shot. I've said this before. I'll say it again. It annoys people. The young quarterback ecosystem in the NFL is dying or dead, whatever you'd prefer. And I'd like to see Darnold get an opportunity. I understand they're picking number 2, but how about instead of having to get a quarterback and potentially wait 4 years for them to develop too, you take it for how it is. You give Darnold the benefit of the doubt and say, wow, Adam Gase was terrible. Let's try it now with Mike LaFleur as our OC. And you go and you help out that offense. You draft, Penei Sewell. And so then you have Sewell and you have the kid from Louisville last year. Or what you do is you draft a wide receiver and then you have Denzel Mims and then say Jalen Waddle, That's the direction I would go. I'd even consider trading down, getting Kyle Pitts, somebody like that. I'm not the biggest fan of moving on from a rookie quarterback. But what I will say this, or young quarterback, sorry. I will say this, though. The Dolphins, they're in a different position. The Jets right now, they're not rebuilding per se because I do think they have, an idea of like a foundation there if they keep Darnold. The Dolphins have the 3rd pick because of the Texans trade with Tunsil. And I feel like the Dolphins are indeed a quarterback away, maybe some other pieces, but mainly a quarterback. So I would argue they should trade that away and Tua and try and get a Deshaun Watson or a Russell Wilson. We'll see if that's what happens. I wouldn't mind them even drafting another quarterback, but they have to get rid of Tua if they do that. If they want to stick with Tua, fine, but let's not forget what they had to do in crunch time, taking out Tua and putting in Ryan Fitzpatrick to win a football game. Jets are going to take a quarterback with the most punchable face. What? So you're talking about Wilson. You want to punch Wilson in the face? That's not very nice. It's not like it's Grayson Allen. Punchable faces. Grayson Allen had the most punchable face in sports. No one could tell me otherwise. All right, Brad Marchand for the Boston Bruins, but yeah, Grayson Allen is up there. Dolphins should pursue Wilson or Watson. I agree. Hey Jake, when you tag and trade, is there any dead money? For instance, if we tag and trade JJ, no, there's no dead money because dead money is like technically the money that was guaranteed, so already paid to. The tag is just a 1-year thing. It's just 1 year, so all of that money would go back on another team. So that's the cool thing about it. That's why tag and trade is actually like a decent transaction that's possible. Damn, poor Wilson. You know, Zach Wilson's gotten a big time flack. First off, the punchable face comment. Secondly, the whole blue, what is it? The Blue Airlines or Blue JetBlue. Yeah, it's JetBlue. His father owning JetBlue. Oh, I don't even buy into all that. I think it's nonsense. Joe Buck. Yeah. Well, you know, if you're the Dolphins, would you be willing to give up the number three number ones? If I'm the Seahawks and Texans, I tell you don't bother throwing in Tua because I'm not a fan of his. What's cheapest tag the Rams can use on JJ? So the default tag, I believe, is around the 13 million range, which would be cheaper than I think JJ's contract is going to be. So I don't know if they announced it yet. I'm going to take a look right now. The 2021 franchise tag values, not deadline. Well, the deadline you probably already knew was March 9th, so it's coming up. That's when things will start to get crazy. What's the worst, punching your face off or having Dan Campbell eat your kneecaps? You guys. Yeah, Nick Wright. Okay, fair enough. All right. So over the cap, there's only projected franchise values, but over the cap has a franchise tag at 16. Oh, sorry, that's wide receiver. What am I doing? Safety has it at 11 million. Okay, so that'd be relatively cheap. $11.1 million for a franchise tag for a safety. Transition tag would be 9.5 million. So, you know, that's definitely not a lot. It's not a lot at all. I'm checking one more thing. So, if you guys don't know, a transition tag, the original club that applies the transition tag has the right of first refusal to match any offer the player would have with another team. So the point of the franchise tag in general is you tag the guy. He doesn't go to free agency. You have him. He has to sign the tag, of course, whatever. But you know, this is a way. You know, transition tags are like never used, but it was used last year by the Cardinals to retain running back Kenyon Drake. So he's a free agent this year. They didn't add another year. You know, it's a large number. It's a large amount, first off, for the transition tag, but it's not as much as the franchise tag. But it honestly creates difficulties for both clubs to kind of work a deal. And also, no, like these players, regardless of if it sounds nice to have 11 million up front or not, these players want long-term stability. So tags are just kind of like they piss players off. That's why tags you have to use them strategically because you could be completely pissing off the party you're trying to negotiate with. But you know, it basically if you do a transition tag, you don't get compensation if you decline to match an offer and another team signs your player. So you don't get like a first rounder or anything like you would get from a franchise tag. That's as simple as I can make it. No news on Marvin Jones. Do you know if the Lakers will make a trade before the trade deadline? That is an interesting thing. I do not know. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. But I'm not worried about them because, you know, the fact of the matter is they're not healthy. And when they get healthy, it'll be towards the end of the year and they'll be ready to go. So I'm not too worried. Yeah, so again, to answer your question, AZZA, the cheapest tag the Rams can offer is like 9 million transition tag, and that you would obviously, you know, you would do that if you just wanted the right to first refusal, and then the franchise tag, if anybody signs him, you'd get like 11 million or whatever. Something, or not 11 million, you get like a first rounder or something like that. So, something to keep in mind. It's almost 5:30 here. How we all doing? You guys hanging in there? Ted Williams or Joe DiMaggio? That's tough. I really, really like Ted Williams. I don't know. I honestly don't know how to answer that. I'm going to look up their stats real quick since someone asked me that. Ted Williams. I used to know like all these stats by heart. Now I have to look them up. It's such a shame. Have a good one, James. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. I think it'd be worth it to tag John Johnson for sure. Okay, so since it was asked, Ted Williams, 2-time MVP, 2-time Triple Crown, 19-time All-Star, 6-time batting title, 5-time Player of the Year, which if you're Major League Player of the Year, that should be MVP. I'm assuming that's what they – all right. This is also a guy that didn't play in 43, 44, and 45, which would have been his year 24, 25, and 26 because he was in the military. So, I mean, that's just incredible. 521 home runs, 344 batting average. He didn't have 3,000 hits, but he also missed 3 years because of the military. And then Joe DiMaggio, Hall of Fame, 3-time MVP, Player of the Year. So, again, MVP, I guess. 13-time All-Star, 2-time batting title, 9-time World Series winner. And, wow, Ted Williams never won a World Series? Okay, and then DiMaggio didn't play in 43, 44, and 45 because of the military as well. He finished with 361 home runs, 325 batting average. Look, DiMaggio is great. Okay, DiMaggio is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the absolute best, but I'd say Ted Williams. I mean, you guys see the Yankee hat on me. I'm not biased here. I'm picking the Red Sox because, Ted Williams is crazy. So, also, I just want to point this out. This is weird as hell. So, you look at Baseball Reference. They're all owned by Sports Reference. So, Baseball Reference has Joe DiMaggio, Holy Cross Cemetery, Colma, California. That's where he's buried. And then it says Ted Williams buried and frozen. So I knew about that. I know that's real, but it's so weird, and it reminded me, do they plan on bringing him back? Why did he? Does anyone know? Why was he frozen? Why did they try doing that? And, do they plan on bringing him back someday? Try and bring him back? I don't know how that works. This isn't like Captain America. I don't think you could just freeze somebody for, 75 years and bring him back. But maybe you can. I don't know. JJ3 beating out Maurice Alexander for the starting position at home versus the Seahawks. Good times. I liked Mo Alexander. On second thought, Joe DiMaggio because Joe had Marilyn Monroe. Of course. Do you think Floyd will be gone? I think Floyd will be gone. 56-game hitting streak. The Staffords rocking throwback Rams snapbacks. You love to see it. Yeah, definitely. I think you can get a second rounder for tagging and trading JJ3. Maybe a first, but I'd say second to be safe. But then again, Ted Williams could supposedly see the seams on a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. That's just insane. What an amazing hitter. Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Yankees? I mean, the Dodgers, to be honest. I think the Yankees are the best team, aside from the Dodgers, in the league right now. That's where I'm at. The only thing that held back the Yankees and has held back the Yankees is their health. They've been like injury plagued over the last 3 years, so let's see. I was watching the Rams versus Bucks NFC Championship game earlier and didn't realize that Kurt was struggling in that game. I mean, people forget that Bucks defense was monstrous. I mean, they had guys, obviously like Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks. Dexter Jackson, I think, had 3 interceptions, had like 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl against the Raiders. So I mean, like he's somebody that made a lot of noise. And then Anthony McFarland. They had all sorts of guys. Simeon Rice, I think, was on that team. So yeah, they had a lot of talent. That defense was stacked. Thanks, Renee. Renee. I think they froze him for his insane hand-eye coordination, but I have no clue. Who's hating on Asian American and Pacific Islanders? Jody. Dodgers are loaded. They are, Masanori. They definitely are loaded. If the Mariners beat the Yankees, I can die happy. Come on, Chantry. Bro, I just came back from Applebee's. One of the waiters tried to tell me trading Goff for Stafford was a huge mistake. He was a Niners fan. Said Stafford had Megatron and should have done more. Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Megatron was a blessing and a curse for Matthew Stafford. The blessing was the fact you had freaking Megatron. The curse was the fact that everyone just brings up how he had Megatron his whole career, as if he only had him until he was 30. Like, it's so funny, as if like he had him his whole career. It's like ridiculous to me. Have they announced the Rams schedule yet? No, that's coming in May. So we'll get the NFL schedule announced in May. So that'll be cool. It's a big thing now here in California. LOL, I just thought to put it out there. Yeah, that's weird. Why are we hating anybody based on where they're from? That seems ridiculous to me. Days, please tell me you shut them up. Dodgers lost to the Pods today. Okay, the Padres are no joke either. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know if there's a team like that. Like the Padres have legit chance at knocking off the Dodgers, but we'll see. I don't know. Dodgers are they're so ridiculously stacked. It's insane. And it goes back to what I said, and I'll piss off some of you Dodgers fans, but I'm going to say it anyway. People said the Yankees bought titles. I've never, ever seen a team this stacked. The Dodgers are absolutely buying a championship. Like, you can't tell me they're developing all this team. They develop some players, don't get me wrong, like Dustin May and, Gavin Lux and what's his face, the first baseman who I forget, I think Justin Turner. But aside from that, man, it's like, and Cody Bellinger. Aside from that, though, it's been like all. Here they are getting the Cy Young winner after winning the World Series and, trading for Mookie Betts. Like, come on now. Dodgers are funny. That or the Rams can win a Super Bowl. Another thing, Ken Griffey Jr. was the best player in history. So Ken Griffey Jr. is the guy, as soon as I think of guys that would destroy, like absolutely destroy if they didn't have an injury. Like if injuries didn't exist, okay, so if injuries didn't exist, okay, I swear by this, I don't think guys like Ken Griffey Jr., nothing would have stopped them. I do think Ken Griffey Jr. would have been the greatest player of all time. If injuries didn't exist, I think, I don't know if there's anybody in the NBA that I'd say would be the greatest of all time. If injuries didn't exist, I think Denari Alexander would have been a superstar wide receiver. I stand by that to this day. He was built like Randy Moss. He ran like Randy Moss, but he had like 7 knee surgeries. So, give a break. I just watched that game and Lux, all the young kids played. I should say he was the most talented. When your team beats a lot of opponents, it comes with haters. I always come in here talking ish. Sounds like that Niner fan was an idiot. Stafford never had a defense. Stafford never had a running game. Stafford played behind a piss poor offensive line. That Niners fan expected him to do more. Yeah, I mean, I'll say it over and over again. Stafford, and I mean, you can go back to a tweet I had 5 years ago when I said all I want is the Rams to trade for Matthew Stafford. So you can tell I'm very happy about this. But Matthew Stafford, he had some weapons last year. I'm a big fan of Marvin Jones, but I don't know if he truly had a number one weapon that was like constantly healthy after Calvin Johnson because Kenny Golladay was always hurt. They got Golden Tate. Golden Tate's not a number one receiver. And then the offensive line, I just think was kind of like it was a routine, reshuffling every year. It seemed like their defense was okay. I mean, the best way I can explain it is the 9-7 season that Stafford led them through. 8 of those 9 wins were won in the final minutes of the game. So Stafford had to come back from behind and win those games. Not to mention, he only had 12 games in his entire career in which running backs ran for over 100 yards. His best running back was Reggie Bush. I can't stress it enough. Stafford, he's coming to a team with the Rams where he doesn't have to be the guy, but he can be the guy. You look at the running backs with Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson. We'll see if they get another guy there. Then you look at the wide receivers with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Van Jefferson. And then, the tight ends with Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins. You have a top 10 offensive line. You have the best defense in the league coming back for the most part. You have great coaching. This is a Sean McVay type of team that, wants to win with time of possession. So Stafford doesn't have to come back in all those games. Like, Stafford will likely be in control in the majority of these games. I really have a hard time seeing who's going to beat the Rams if everything works the way they think it's going to work. So we'll see. How about Mickey Mantle, Jake? If not for the bad knees, he'd have better stats. Oh, I absolutely love Mickey Mantle. Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be up there as well. Another guy, another Yankee, Don Mattingly could have ended up as one of the greatest hitters ever he still should be in the Hall of Fame. I think the whole longevity thing against him is ridiculous. But at one point or another, Don Mattingly was the best hitter in baseball, had the best eye, literally walked less than 40 times a year. He literally struck out less than 40 times a year, walked all the time. Like, he just had the best eye in baseball at the time, and he had a back injury that just wouldn't go away. And so I think it robbed him of a huge career. And so for that reason, I would say if injuries didn't exist, Don Mattingly 100% would be a Hall of Famer. He should be one anyway. And I'd say Don Mattingly would be one of the best hitters of all time. I mean, career 344 batting average for Ted Williams is just absolutely insane because it's still on my screen right now. I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the hell? It's just nuts, man. Like, you have to be so good to be doing that. But I'm hoping if Don Mattingly's manager numbers can put him in the Hall of Fame, because at one point or another, people forget, he was an MVP. He was a 6-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove, 3-time Silver Slugger, batting title winner, Major League Player of the Year. So again, I'm going to say that's probably like the MVP. He also won Manager of the Year. I'll keep that in mind. But anyway, to his playing stats real quick. In 84, when he actually became a full-time starter, he played 153 games. He led the league in hits at 207, doubles at 44. He had 23 home runs, 110 ribbies. Keep in mind, 23 home runs was a lot back then. He finished 5th in the MVP voting, 343 batting average. Then you go to 1985. He leads the league again in doubles with 48. He didn't lead the league despite having 211 hits, 145 RBIs, 35 home runs, 324 batting average, and he finishes first in the MVP voting. He won the MVP that year. And then you go to 86. He leads the league in hits at 238. He has 53 doubles. He has 31 home runs, 113 RBIs. He bats .352. He finishes second in the MVP voting. 1987. You look at that. He has 186 hits. He has 30 home runs, 115 RBIs, 327, finishes 7th in the MVP voting. 1988, he actually got hurt, in this season, but he finished with 18 home runs, 88 RBIs, 186 hits, 311 batting average. was an all-star, that year. And then 1989, he finished with 23 home runs, 113 RBIs, 191 hits, 303 batting average, finished 15th in MVP voting. And then after that, he wasn't the same. He falls off 5 home runs, 9 home runs, 14 home runs, 17, 6, 7. And then, batting average, 256, 288, 288, 291, 304, 288. So my point is that from 94 to 89, there weren't many baseball players that were better than Don Mattingly. And so that would be my argument of why he should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just pretty incredible what he was able to do. But of course, the Yankees didn't win a ton in that realm, and they didn't win a World Series. It was one of the rare times where they didn't win a World Series. And I mean, he didn't win the MVP voting in 86 because, well, Roger Clemens won it. And Roger Clemens, when you look at what Roger Clemens did that year, he had 33 games, started, 24 wins, 4 losses, 2.48 ERA, and a .96 whip. He had 238 strikeouts. So, that's why he didn't win it that year. And then, what was it? The year he came in 5th in MVP voting, his first year as a true, everyday starter. The guys ahead of him, they're all very impressive here. I mean, that's the thing is, throughout this, Mattingly you could have argued he could have won that over Roger Clemens. Mattingly finished 5th behind Eddie Murray, Dan Quisenberry, Kent Herbeck, and then Willie Hernandez, who actually ended up winning the MVP. So that's my argument for Mattingly. I think Mattingly is extremely underrated, and it's a joke that he can't be in the Hall of Fame, and yet, you look at the Hall of Fame voting for baseball, and they didn't even put anyone in this year. I just think I've said it before, I think the Baseball Hall of Fame has become a complete joke. You don't have the all-time leading hits leader. You don't have the all-time home run hitter. You don't have one of the greatest, basically he's the all-time Cy Young winner. And it's a joke to me. It's sad. I like the Baseball Hall of Fame when I go, but yeah, I have such an issue with that. So let's go back because I know you guys were talking. Let's see. Wow. Griffey could have been the best if it wasn't for his injuries. He did get beefed up, so I'm wondering if he juiced, which would piss me off. I don't think he juiced, but I hear you. Let's see here. One last thing about the Mariners. You could say we are the Yankees farm team. That's funny. Mark Bolger, last Rams quarterback to bring the Rams from behind to win. Is that true? There's no way that's true. So if I say Tom Brady is going to have a down year because he is turning 45, that good, age is no longer a big factor anymore with the way these athletes look after themselves. That's true. Dude, I have a Madden franchise with Ross and staff. AMD, it's dope. I see AD having a freak game week 1 or week 2 with 4 sacks in a game. I think he wants to make a shot at the record again. AD will have 10 plus sacks until he's 35. Let's relax. 8 sacks. They must quit quadruple teaming him every play. Let's see. Jake, I think teams are jealous of the Yankees and Dodgers' success, all the haters out there. I mean, it's apparent. Cardinals should be worrying about their pass coverage, not pass rush. I agree. I mean, who's in the back end of that secondary? They have nobody. Everybody's going to be a free agent. J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones are not the same players. AD needs another dominant rusher so he can get way more. So you get too many double teams. We're just going to throw it past J.J. Watt against their horrible coverage. Stop. Mike Trout is the best player of all time. Kurt Schilling is a Hall of Famer. I agree. Kurt Schilling is a Hall of Famer. He might be a wacko, but he's a Hall of Famer. Possibly. I mean, it can't get worse than Sebastian Joseph. Hey, Sebastian Joseph Day is really good. You guys are underrating him. You guys are underrating him for sure. I want Clowney. I think Clowney 1 year could make not all the difference, but I think Clowney 1 year could help. Yeah, Bobby Orr not having knee issues. Agree, Mike. Now, I'm not one of those people that think Bobby Orr would be the GOAT because that's Gretzky, but Seabass is my guy. Yeah, I like Sebastian Joseph Day. I like his nickname is Bash. I like that. Yeah. No, Aaron Donald I don't think is dropping off anytime soon. I don't think Clowney is Jag. I don't think he's just another guy. I think if you put Clowney on this Rams defense, he'd really show you could have 15 sacks or more. For sure. All right, folks. It's getting to be that time. Does anybody have any questions for me before I head out of here? Yeah, the Laker jealousy is funny. Oh, before I go, I have to ask, without spoiling it, did you guys enjoy WandaVision season finale? Series finale. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. You did. All right, cool. Renee, chill out, man. You have to keep in mind, like Leonard Floyd had what, 12 sacks? Jadeveon Clowney's a better pass rusher than Leonard Floyd. Yeah, I love the I love it's funny, I'm texting someone right now because it's actually Steffi. She just put up that she needed to watch WandaVision, or she was asking if she should watch WandaVision. I was like, yeah. They definitely upped her powers. I mean, I dig it. I'm happy. Can the Rams sign any players now, or do they have to wait? They can sign guys that are already free agents. They can't sign guys that haven't hit free agency yet because free agency hasn't started. Um. Oh yeah, yeah. Wanda's powers are crazy. I mean, just shout out to Elizabeth Olsen who didn't take the easy way out. Obviously, she knew her she had loyalty or royalty, like acting royalty in her family with the Olsen twins, and she was living in LA, and she basically decided to go to NYU, get a degree, was, math, science, like working really hard, and she paved the way for herself. So proud of that. I mean, that's huge. That's how I would be, though. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if my father was like super super big or whatever, like I would always try to make a name for myself and not ride the coattails of someone else. You're killing me, Chantry. Yeah, they are building off. That's a thing. Yeah, they're going to get. I thought they built off the finale pretty well going into Quantumania, Ant-Man 3, and the Wasp. They did well building into Spider-Man 3 a little bit. Not a ton, but just a little bit. They did well building into Captain Marvel 2. And then they did well building into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And Rams just posted almost 9 minutes of Steven Jackson highlights. Oh, that's fun. Oh, absolutely, Renee. 100%. Elizabeth Olsen is like my favorite actress right now. It's not even close. My absolute favorite. I have not met Greg Kubek, but I know that he went to Shen and he played for Duke. That's a good question. Doctor Strange is going to be absolutely wild. I actually heard that Sam Raimi wants to make it like a horror movie. It's going to be the first scary Marvel movie. So we'll see. Jake, do you think the Rams will sign anybody the first day of free agency? I don't know. I think they're a team that might want to hold back. Keep in mind that, with the compensatory, the formula. There's another reason why they should trade these guys. They should, tag John Johnson and trade him because you're not even guaranteed compensatory picks if you make a move in free agency. So there you go. There's another reason. But the compensatory pick formula is not affected if you sign guys before free agency. So if you signed a guy like JJ Watt, he doesn't impact your formula. But if you sign a guy during free agency that's like a top-notch free agent and you lose a top-notch free agent, you don't get a comp pick because they cancel out. I hate it. Hate it so much. But yeah, that's that. Rams need to focus on O-line, protect Matt, or defense, one or the other. One of the sides needs to be pristine if they want to go all the way. My day, Ace, thank you so much for asking. My day is going swell. I'm honestly feeling pretty happy about my day. What about you? How's your day going? Yes, horror movie. Sam Raimi is an underrated director. Yes, he is. Did you guys see Drag Me to Hell? That was a good movie directed by him. Jake, do you think they will make more average Avengers movies? Gotcha. I know what you're saying. Yes, there's like a rumor out there that they're making Avengers 5. I don't. There's something that like they used a secret word or secret name for it, undercover name. So yeah, there's something out there. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a rumor out there that that's what they're doing. What's up, Joe? How we doing? I see Joe Mashad just joined on Twitter. It's my guy. Yeah, man, my day's going well, Ace. Appreciate you asking. It's always going well when I'm on here with you guys. That's for damn sure. Avengers Assemble. They can tap into X-Men too. They'll keep making them till people stop watching. Yeah, I mean, that is really interesting to me. Are they going to rebrand X-Men? Because I heard that they're going to make the first movie The Mutants. So I hope they're not just getting rid of X-Men, but I heard, Jake, that you're going to make more Star Wars movies called The Old Republic. I'm assuming there because you heard wrong if you heard that I'm going to make them. I'm definitely not making them, but Let's see. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. He was going to be a favorite part of Phase 4, but WandaVision gives me hope for the future. Yeah, that was just awful. I'm a big fan of Chadwick Boseman. I thought he was a phenomenal actor. I'm really bummed that we won't see a Black Panther 2 with him in it. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Black Panther 2. I'm not one of those people that think they should cancel it because Black Panther you could give to Shuri, who I thought she's an incredible actress. If you've ever seen that actress, I forget her name, but she was in one of the have you ever seen Black Mirror? She was in the Black Museum, I think it's called, and it is phenomenal. That is one of the best episodes ever. She was so amazing in that. Definitely check her out in that if you want to see her acting range, because she can be even way better than what you've seen with the Avengers. No, Jake, not the Avengers. Not Avengers. The Avengers were not that good. I know. Okay, there's so much going on here. I wish we can have all of them, but players these days want the money. Yeah, it's an expensive sport. It's a dangerous sport. You get paid for the danger that you put yourself in. Everyone have a good night, Ramblers. Later, Masanori. Ooh, Star Wars or MCU? That's tough. I don't want to pick. I mean, I think more consistency was in the MCU by a country mile because I hate the first Star Wars episode. Not the first one, but like episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Like, I hate that movie. I don't think it's good at all. But I think that, with MCU, there's like 20 plus movies, and I just did a whole rewatch of them, and I'll just tell you right now, there's not a bad movie, in the MCU. You could argue The Incredible Hulk wasn't the best movie, but it's not bad. And it's part of the MCU, but it's not. So, I also like the X-Men movies, which everyone hates, so I don't really care. But Letitia Wright, yeah, she's awesome. But that's the thing. Her as Shuri in Avengers, she's good. Her in Black Panther, she's good. But when I saw that episode in Black Mirror, she was unbelievable. 100% guaranteed she would be a phenomenal pick to be Black Panther. Yeah, I think the Star Wars is a little different because MCU, they don't plan on stopping. I think Star Wars sooner or later wanted to stop advancing, and they want to tell stories from the past or, fill in story gaps. So you get like initially it was going to be Star Wars Origins with Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and who's the other one? Boba Fett. And that lost so much backing and so much momentum that they ended up making it so it would just be Star Wars, a Han Solo story. So they had Solo. I don't think Solo did well. I think some people didn't like it. I loved it. I thought it was great. But then they decided to go with the Obi-Wan series. So they went with the Kenobi Disney Plus series, and then Boba Fett, they ended up just throwing him in with the Mandalorian, and now Boba Fett is going to be in his own series called the Book of Boba Fett, which Mando will be in, so that'll be interesting. Wakanda is fake, Zamunda is real though. Wow, didn't even make the connection. That was her. Love Black Mirror, and she's fantastic. Yeah, Ben, Black Mirror is awesome. Anthony Mackie's in just a bonkers episode that I don't even know what I watched when I saw that. I was just blown away. Phantom Menace is so bad you can skip it to Attack of the Clones and not be completely confused. No, I agree with you. I mean, Phantom Menace is just, it's supposed to be like a kids movie. I mean, they're all supposed to be somewhat kids movies, but like Phantom Menace was a true kids movie, and they used all that stupid CGI, and they constantly overused Jar Jar Binks, and I hated it. Did not like it. I watched it. I gave it another rewatch opportunity last year when I was in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. I was in my hotel, and I had a flight at 5 a.m., and I don't sleep, not when I have a 5 a.m. flight. So I just decided to stay up all night, and I was watching Phantom Menace. I'm not even going to lie, that almost put me to sleep. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Jar Jar Binks is in that way too long. and they don't really develop, Qui-Gon Jinn. You don't really learn too much about him. I don't. It's just not a great movie. Um, MCU. I'm not a Star Wars diehard, so yeah, I know Star Wars isn't for everyone. MCU isn't for everyone, so and there's people that just like those cinema, like those true like Academy films, and I get that. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I love everything. I rarely hate movies. So like Phantom Menace is like really bad because I don't like it. I know that sounds like really close-minded, but like I normally like every movie or at least think it's okay. I don't hate movies and I hated Phantom Menace. Um Sorry I'm late. I was busy earlier today. Why must the Rams franchise tag John Johnson, and do you think they are gonna? Jake, just to recap earlier, I think they should tag John Johnson because when you look at the free agency class, there's hardly anybody available. John Johnson, he can't outbid anybody, and if you don't want him back, you have to tag him because getting a third-round comp pick next year isn't going to help you this year. You're going to lose a safety, and you're going to get your compensatory pick next year. No, you want to tag him, create more demand in the market, and then trade him to a safety needy team. Try and get a first, but I'm expecting to get a second rounder, and that is why I would tag John Johnson. Okay, Jake. Sorry, I meant that. I heard we're making a new Star Wars movie. Sorry about that. No worries. Rams did start in Cleveland. That is right. Jake, why did you have Iron Man 2 so low? I rewatch it. It's good. Okay, so Iron Man 2, my biggest issue is that the ending is so bad. It's so anticlimactic. And Whiplash could have been such a better character. And I just felt like they just wasted so much time keeping him under wraps that he wasn't that great. I don't know. I thought Mickey Rourke did a nice job acting. I just thought Whiplash was just a weak character. So that's why I had Iron Man 2 so low. Iron Man 1's amazing, and Iron Man 1 actually ties into Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is going to be coming out for the MCU in like June or July. That movie has deep connections because you could see the Ten Rings are the people that abduct Tony Stark, so they're going to be in that. But Iron Man 1's great. Iron Man 3 is underrated. Iron Man 3 is underrated because he literally has to go through so much. He goes from literally rock bottom, people thinking he's dead, to, getting to the top and letting everything go. I don't know. I just really appreciated that film. The second one, it's not bad. It's just not it's not the best MCU movie, and I think it's overrated. And I mean, I love Captain Marvel, and that's my last film. That was my least favorite film, besides The Incredible Hulk, which is my absolute least favorite film. But, we got all sorts of comments. This is fun. Never knew how good the first Iron Man was. Yeah, first Iron Man is so good. It's so good. Hope they bring back Killmonger somehow. Love that performance from Michael B. Jordan. Totally agree. Killmonger was like another level of villain because he just had this personality that normally villains don't have. They don't normally talk as much. I just enjoyed him as Killmonger for sure. I was hoping that he would live at the end. Is Ahsoka the best character? There's an argument. Ahsoka's awesome. But here's the problem though. I never really watched any of the Star Wars or the Clone Wars. I never really watched any of that. I've watched like 8 episodes. The animation, I know I sound snobby, but I'm not a big fan of the animation, and I just would rather have a live action Clone Wars. So I watched videos like explaining it, and then I saw Ahsoka on like live action in Mandalorian, and Ahsoka in Mandalorian is so like they made it like it was like Predator, like the way they filmed it. So I don't know. Ahsoka's one of my favorites. I'm confused why she wasn't a bigger part in episode 2 and 3. Why they just didn't decide to do that, but they didn't. Let's see here. Incredible Hulk beats the awful Eric Bana Hulk easily. You think so? Wait, are you talking about like I'm actually confused by that. Do you are you you're talking about the Hulk. Like so there was a Hulk movie in there's a Hulk movie in 2002 and then there's Incredible Hulk in 2007, I think. Is that what you're talking about? Cuz yeah, 2002 is bad. We're getting Bad Batch soon. I miss Clone Wars. Oh, so you're going to hate what I just said. Jake, why did J.J. Watt pick the Cards over winning a Super Bowl after he said he wanted to win a Super Bowl when he was a free agent? Could not tell you. I think he just really wanted the money. I want them to add Blade and Ghost Rider already. I could see them adding Ghost Rider in the Multiverse of Madness, but we'll see. Blade is going to have his own series. Mustafa Ali is amazing. If you don't remember him, he was Cottonmouth in what was it? He was in what was Cottonmouth in? I'm getting confused. Was he Gotham or was he in um no, he was in Luke Cage, right? Yeah, he was in Luke Cage. And he was great. Awesome actor. So, yeah, Cornell Stokes, Cottonmouth, Luke Cage. If you never saw Luke Cage, the first season's great. The second season, they kind of ruined it with Bushmaster because that name is so bad. But, yeah, I liked him. I liked him as Cottonmouth. I did. Now he's going to be Blade. I think he'll be fun as Blade, but we'll see. Let's see here. Those prequels are dry. Which prequels? The Star Wars ones? Or Phantom Menace would be so much better if Jar Jar Binks was the Phantom Menace. Or if they didn't make what's his face? If they didn't make Darth Maul the most badass looking Jedi or the most badass looking Sith and then have him be as weak as hell. Also, the way they killed Qui-Gon Jinn off in that movie is so dumb. Like, it looks so bad. I heard on the radio they're making a Spider-Man movie with all the previous actors who all played the parts. That would be great. Yeah, I mean, it's expected to be that. They're obviously trying to hide it, and there's all these rumors that actually, no, they're only in one scene. I'm sorry. If Peter Parker, Peter Parker played by Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, if they're played as like a random like person in the city, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, I need to see legitimate multiverse action, but we'll see. I don't know what they're gonna do there. Let's see. Blade is coming. I'm good with the OG Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, I love the original Star Wars for sure. The Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope are like the two best for me. I hated The Last Jedi. So initially, when I got out of the theater, I was like, it was entertaining, but like, what did I just watch? And then, honestly, I went back and rewatched it, and I thought The Last Jedi was better than I gave it credit for. It's a good movie. I like The Last Jedi. I actually like all the Star Wars movies except for Phantom Menace, if I'm being honest. Sounds like the new movie will be a variation into the Spider-Verse. Yes, and I'm hoping that's the case, Renee, because Into the Spider-Verse is really good. And I'm not really normally a fan of like those animated movies, but that is definitely something to check out. I want to see them introduce Miles Morales to the MCU, and I want them to use the same character the same actor they used. I think his last name is Jeter. The same actor they used for Miles Morales Spider-Man, like the video game, because I thought he was great. I'm going to look him up right now. Yeah, Najee Jeter. I'd go with him. That'd be my guess. It makes sense. He did the mocap, and how old is he? He's 24 years old. It makes sense. He looks like, he looks young. They could bring in Miles, not have to kill off Peter Parker. Makes total sense. But yeah, I want to see Miles Morales brought in. They already introduced his uncle Aaron Davis, who's the Prowler in Homecoming. So, Jake, they're making a new George Lucas museum in Los Angeles. I bet that will be great to check out. That's sick. I did not know that, Paul. George Lucas Museum? That's cool. I hate The Last Jedi 2. Iron Man 2 was super rushed. Didn't it feel that way? Like Iron Man 2, yeah, I don't know. It connects, but I thought it could have been better for sure. It wasn't a bad movie, but I just don't think it was the best. Ben Affleck is done playing Batman in those movies from what I recall. I think this is a one-off. This Zack Snyder cut is a one-off, and then they're going to have more Batman movies in the future. Or sorry, they're going to have the Batman coming out next year. This month next year. That's going to be played by Robert Pattinson. And I'm sorry if you instantly thinking Edward Cullen. I don't fault you, but I will say this: Robert Pattinson is a legit actor. Like, he's great. Like, he's gonna do it well, and it's gonna be dark, and that's Batman. So, um, I'm looking forward to that. DC, to me, they have all sorts of issues going on. I feel like they have an identity crisis. If they can figure it out, they have great characters they can make work. But it sounds like they're gonna lose. What's his face? Henry Cavill. Sounds like they're gonna lose him, or they're letting him go or something, because he was already in talks with the MC or in talks with Marvel Studios. So we'll see what they do with that. That would be definitely interesting to bring him in the MCU. I wonder what you play, but yeah. That's not my bird. Whiplash. Oh my god. Yeah, Whiplash just I liked Whiplash. I just thought there wasn't enough of him. Like, they kept him like just in that entire they kept him in that facility for like an hour. By the way, that facility was actually the Tesla facility, and my guy who I absolutely love, Elon Musk, who is the head honcho at Tesla. He was in the movie. Yeah. Fun fact, he was in Iron Man 2. In order for them to use Tesla, he asked a few favors, and one of them was to be in the movie. So you see that. Best Rams unis are Roman Gabriel late '60s version. I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of the yellow and blue. I'm a fan of the uniforms now, but I think the throwback, the '70s Rams with the yellow, the tiny, like the small stripes on the sock, you can't beat that. Who was bringing who back? I take Iron Man 3 over Iron Man 2. Oh, absolutely. Nah, don't hate you. Everyone has their own opinions, but I suggest watching it to get more story and everything. Yeah, I was talking that 2003 Hulk. Yeah, that's bad. That was a bad movie. Luke Cage is dope. Jake will put Wolverine in any of the new Avengers movies. I hope. I love Wolverine. If you're wondering why Thanos has that scar, it's because of Wolverine. So the fact that they included it in the MCU is kind of annoying, because Wolverine isn't in the MCU. Jake, do you know if they're making any more Jurassic Park movies? They are. Jurassic Park, they're coming out with a new movie called Jurassic World. It's called. I know there was a Jurassic World in 2015 with Chris Pratt, but Chris Pratt's going to come back. It's going to be Jurassic World Dominion, and Chris Pratt is in that cast with Bryce Dallas Howard as well. So, and Jeff Goldblum returns. So does Laura Dern and Sam Neill. So that's the cast confirmed. I'm a big fan of the Jurassic Park series. The reboot, I think they've done a nice job with. So Dominion should be pretty fun, but we'll see. I think Chris Pratt's awesome, so I'll enjoy watching it. Plus, I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard is awesome too. And I'll say this, Bryce Dallas Howard, she could be a great option for one of the either Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four MCU recasting, or Jean Grey. If you're wondering where she's from, I mean, obviously, Jurassic World, but she's also from The Mandalorian, and she's also from Black Mirror. So, yeah, I don't know why they didn't make more Clone Wars movies, but who knows? Who plays Ghost Rider? That's an interesting one. What if Keanu Reeves? I know everyone puts him as like Nova or Namor, but what if Keanu Reeves was Ghost Rider? That'd be pretty dope. I heard the last three movies, 7 through 9, won't be canon anymore, which I'm kind of happy about. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like retconning a series of three movies. I think not only is it a waste to the fans, but I think it's honestly a waste to the actors. So Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, um, and then Oscar Isaac. I just think it's a slap in the face to them. Mark Hamill, you know, honestly, I'm gonna do this, and this might come off as a little brash or whatever, but I don't really care. So you're gonna say the last movie Carrie Fisher was in before she died, it's just gonna be erased like that? Like it's gonna be meaningless? I don't know about that, folks. That's the last movie Carrie Fisher filmed before she died. So I'm just gonna say that. I know it's out there. I know that's a loud thing to say, but I just think it's a waste if you're gonna retcon that series out of the series. I just think it's ridiculous. If we're gonna make it Legends, I'm gonna roll my eyes. Not at you, but like I just don't like the idea of like making like episode 7, 8, 9 happened. Like let's just let's get over it. Like it's ridiculous, but whatever. Um, let's see here. The Spider-Verse rumors are getting crazy. Oh yeah, they absolutely are. The way they treated Luke in TLJ still hurts. I do agree with that, but I also think, keep in mind, Luke was a hermit for like years. And we're going to find out with Mandalorian why. We're going to see all of that. We saw the flashbacks when he was talking to Rey, but I think we're going to see why. And we're going to see part of it's going to be Grogu. We're going to see part of Grogu and being part of that. So I'm interested to see how they, expand the Mandalorian, but we'll see. Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One are my favorite Star Wars movies. Rogue One is like phenomenal. That's such a good movie. Solo and Rogue One were decent films. Definitely like Solo. One of the things that I loved about Solo, first off, the actor that they chose for Han Solo was perfect. Secondly, Donald Glover with playing Lando Calrissian was just awesome. And third, their casting of Kira and having it be Emilia Clarke. And not only that, who often gets forgotten, Dryden Voss, the main bad guy, the villain. He is played by Paul Bettany, who plays Vision in WandaVision and the MCU. And Paul Bettany is such a good actor. I saw him in a Knight's Tale. Very good actor. And he plays Dryden. And Dryden has this multiple personality disorder that he pulls off so well. Like, it's crazy. I mean, Solo's a good film. The Batman, appreciate that, Brian. Oh, really? Next door to the Coliseum? That's crazy. The Batman looks great already. Yeah, it does. It's pretty crazy. The Batman, like the costume or whatever, the suit he's going to wear, I don't know if you guys caught it, but like the bat insignia is actually like melted down metal pieces of the gun that was used to kill his parents. That is deep. Why did they bring J.J. Abrams for DC? He still hasn't landed a franchise yet. I don't know. I have no idea. I was probably the only one who wanted to bring back the 1950s royal blue and gold colors. So are you talking about the one where they had the white pants and the yellow stripe and then they had the yellow top? So yeah, you might have been the only one there. Warner Brothers is all over the place with DCEU. Yeah, oh, absolutely. They have no idea what they're doing. I love how they're putting such an emphasis on Black Adam. Like, don't get me wrong, like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson will do a nice job in that role. But, I'm sorry, but, like, Green Arrow needs to be utilized more. Like, I didn't even watch the full Arrow series on Netflix, but I just know that it enticed people and it got people's attention and it was deep. And I just think that they're missing out. They're wasting their time on that. Keanu Reeves is too chill to play an intense character like Ghost Rider, I feel. I don't know. Have you seen John Wick? He's not chill in John Wick. Daisy and John already don't like the sequel trilogy. Do you play any video games? If so, which? I haven't played in 2 months. I even know I own a PS5. The last game I played was, I almost said Steampunk. Cyberpunk 2077. I thought the game's awesome. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I like it. And then I really couldn't get into the Assassin's Creed game that came out. Was not a fan. They ruined the attack system. I just think the combat system's awful. Valhalla, which is a shame. It looks really good, but it doesn't matter graphically how good it is. If it can't play well, it's not gonna play well. And then I also played. I beat Star Wars, the Jedi Fallen Order, and then I was playing Watch Dogs 2, which I enjoy. Watch Dogs is cool. So, let's see. Well, 9 tried to retcon a lot of 8, so I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry to interrupt the movie talk, but Jake, do you expect a huge regression from the Seahawks? They're set to lose a lot of their starters and a few of those starters backups to free agency. Scott, I think you're on the right page there. I mean, I think that there's a good chance that they could fall off. I mean, if they lose, Russell Wilson, I need to know who they get immediately. Otherwise, I think that they're probably going to fall off in a big way. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. They could have gone 5-11 without Russ. He's a huge part of that team, and they better watch it. Let's see here. No, I agree. I think it's a wasted opportunity, but by not utilizing Arrow. I have not watched Superman and Lois. Is that good? I've heard about it. They have little cap room to re-sign them. They only have like 4 draft picks. Yeah. No, you're right, Scott. I agree. I'm hearing they're changing Black Adam name too. Shake my head. Shot by Nolan. I have no idea why they would do that. Like, why? I don't get it. They're all over the place, man. Hey, Jake, just got off of work. Glad to see you were still streaming. Thoughts on WandaVision finale? I thought it was great. Thought it, answered some questions, but not enough. That otherwise you wouldn't have a movie. So yeah, it's pretty open ended, and I liked it a lot. I thought, at the end of the day, WandaVision was never about Wanda and Vision. It was always about the origin story of Scarlet Witch, which I dig. He's 6-11. Oh, I hate that. Why are we having 17 game schedule? Come on. Yeah, so guys, would you be interested if I made this more of like a Jake Ellenbogen channel and didn't focus entirely on sports? I'm curious. Because it seems like every single stream we do, we talk a lot about sports, but we also talk about the MCU and what have you. So, considering it, highly considering it, might be something to look at moving forward. Just a thought. So, guys, be sure to... That Twitch is wrong. Hold on a sec. I just realized something. That might crash my computer if I change it. But anyway, the Twitch account is actually JK Bogan NFL. So that Twitch is absolutely wrong. It's not JK Bogan. I have a JK Bogan account, but it's different. I got rid of that. So it's true. I mean, that is true. I shouldn't box myself into one subject, and it should be whatever's on my mind, right? Guys, you can follow me on Twitch at JK Bogan NFL. I prefer you on YouTube, but if you guys are interested in that, it's out there. Where was it? I'll be honest, I don't know what the Niners are going to do at quarterback, but I'm just hoping they don't stick with Jimmy Garoppolo as a football fan. As a Rams fan, sure, but I don't get it. So this is the Twitch channel. And it's I don't know, it's not glamorous. I still haven't fixed everything on it and everything, but But that's the Twitch channel. You love Jimmy G? Do you love Jimmy G because you're a Rams fan, or do you love Jimmy G because you actually love Jimmy G? I liked him coming out of college. He was like my favorite quarterback in that draft. But, you know. So, I actually just looked because I didn't remember. So the Jake Ellenbogen, or what am I saying? J.K. Bogan NFL account has. How the hell do I see my subscribers or followers? I can't find anything on this site. I'm not a big fan of Twitch. I don't hate it. I have 185 followers. Cool. So if you guys want to do that, you guys want to follow me on there. That's the only place you're going to find, if I game or anything like that, that's the only time you'll find my streams. I won't stream myself playing video games on my YouTube. This is strictly live streams, videos for, sports and what have you. But I see a lot of you guys saying that I should start doing all subjects and all that. So yes, I like Rondell Moore. Falls right out of my top 5, but I still have him as a first-round grade. A very athletic player. Can really turn anything into a touchdown. I like his ability as a guy in bubble screen situations that could take it to the house, but he can also win over the top. He's more physical than giving credit for, and he put on 20 pounds of weight, I believe. So I think he's going to be a stud at the next level. He honestly looks a lot like, when you look at like Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, that type of wide receiver, but he's faster than that. So, send him in the Patriots. He'd be good for that system like before. Yeah, good point. I don't think more to the Rams is possible at all. I think he goes in the first. Rams have to trade up. I don't see him doing that. As a Rams fan, extend Garoppolo. Don't limit yourself to just sports. Be dimensional. These conversations are awesome, Jake. I appreciate that. Yeah, see, I'm a little knowledgeable in other subjects. I mean, I'll say this. It's a blast, and I got into stocks a little bit, and then I got a little bit into politics, and I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of politics, okay? Like, I have my views, everyone has their views. I don't like to put us all in our own boxes, cuz when you get into politics, you're getting into things that are more personal, more close to the heart and things like that. So you can strike a nerve. And so I'm not really trying to do that. I'm not trying to be divisive in any way. I like this because I can go live. Like I've said many times, can create a topic of discussions. Now you guys are talking about, wow, okay, franchise tag, this makes sense. John Johnson, Chris Godwin, what have you. But then after that just gets the ball rolling. Then when we get the ball rolling, you guys can ask me anything and I'm going to answer it. So this is how we go from talking about Jimmy G to the MCU. It's fun. And like the whole, like WandaVision, that going on. I would have loved to go more in depth, but I didn't want to spoil it. But now that it's already out, I mean, if anybody has any questions that need me to clear up anything, any Easter eggs, because I find Easter eggs and stuff, or on, questions on any players, I'm willing to answer those. My take on Ramondre Stevenson. So he runs like Lamar, not. Who's Lamar? No, sorry. He runs like Marshawn Lynch in a bit, but like more of like a later on Marshawn Lynch. He's kind of fast, but like he kind of lumbers, but like he's hard to bring down. I like his balance through contact. I don't think he was the best running back at Oklahoma. I stand by it. I think Trey Sermon was the better running back. And I think that Kennedy Brooks was also pretty solid there. They had a 3-headed backfield. I think that was the problem for both Stevenson and Trey Sermon. Sermon was the better back, though, I would say. You do not like my cap. I'm sorry. I have a Dodgers hat. I used to like. Okay, so here's the origin of me liking the Dodgers. They got Don Mattingly, and if you missed my earlier rant about why Don Mattingly is a Hall of Famer and why I broke it all down, that is why I'm a big fan of Don Mattingly. And so I rooted for the Dodgers when they got Don Mattingly as their manager, and then I started hearing how he's not good and all this, as if they were spending all this money. And then they waited to get Dave Roberts, who literally Dave Roberts is like Ron Washington. The dude could not win to save his life. Ron Washington went to a World Series, two times or three times in a row and lost every time. So I felt like there was a lot of similarities between him and Ron Washington, except Ron Washington didn't have a stacked team like the way the Dodgers did. So I'll say this over and over again. Mattingly had the support from the franchise the way Roberts had. He would have won multiple World Series. You wouldn't have been celebrating your first in however many years. Some of these teams are just ridiculous. I don't think Dave Roberts is that great of a manager, to be honest with you. I've said that before, so that's why. And that's why I would say that. So that's why I had the Dodgers hat to begin with. I was a fan of Mattingly and rooted for the Dodgers. Now I don't really care for them, no offense, but I don't really watch baseball as much though. I just really follow the Yankees, and I used to be so into it, but that's now NFL for me. I used to be in every sport, and now it's just the NFL. Even like hockey took a hit this year. I got super into it last year, and now I'm just not as into it. So I actually just realized I might have to draft because I'm in an early startup league in fantasy football. I bet my turn already passed and I missed it. That would be great. Oh, it is my turn. How about that? Ooh, we got some options here. So far, my team is Saquon Barkley, Tyreek Hill, Cam Akers, Matthew Stafford, Chris Godwin, and I have 2 back-to-back picks. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I see some guys I like. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. Ooh, Chase Claypool. I'm going to go Claypool. This is true. The NFL is constantly adapting and evolving. And then I'm going to go with running backs are confusing to me. There's like nobody here. What on earth? Bad. All right, I'm going to go with Chris Carson. Or yeah. No, I don't know. That's tough. Tyler Boyd. No, I'm going to go with Carson. That's what we'll do. All right, that's done. Kyle Trask is not a top of the draft guy, in my opinion. Yeah, I saw John Johnson say he wants to test free agency. That doesn't really change much, though. They could still tag him, and he'd be stuck. There wasn't a cameo. It was a joke. But I don't want to spoil it because it came out yesterday. But yeah, it was a joke. Do not like your... Okay, I already saw that. That would be funny. Pat signed Garoppolo, Brissett this year. That would be funny. Marshawn Lynch is underrated, but do you think he should be a Hall of Famer? No. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer? I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. No, I don't either. It's the Rams It is the Rams division. Although we won a championship this year with Roberts, I do not like him as a manager in the postseason. No, I'll say it over and over again. Mattingly was a better manager. He just didn't have as much talent as Roberts got to work with. Not anywhere near. You beat the Red Sox if you have Mattingly. Some of Roberts' managing is so bad. It's this modern day, bunch of baseball managers where they just overmanage the game. Like, you don't have to take out a pitcher that's dominating just because you want to use your bullpen. It's ridiculous. Maybe save your bullpen when you play a 7-game series. Oh God, piss me off. I know it's straight Madden talk, but I wish Rap could gain 20 pounds for inside linebacker. Probably because the NFL is so much more entertaining, at least in my opinion. I do agree with that. It's a league that never sleeps. We can help you draft Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey drafts center, edge, speedy wide receiver, and DB. In that order, we will be set. Pick Nathan Peterman. Chantrey's like, yeah, I'll help you. Pick Nathan Peterman. Claypool, yes. Thoughts on Baker Mayfield and his UFO sighting? Do you believe aliens? I have no idea how I feel about that. I'm not Tom DeLonge. I'm not about to write a memoir about my time leaving leaving my band Blink 182 to go chase aliens, but I believe that maybe something could be out there. It's a pretty big world, and pretty ignorant to just think that Earth is the only planet that matters and is the only planet that has life on it. Amari Rodgers to the Rams. I know his stock has been rising, though. Yeah, that'd be fun. I like him. Oh, yeah. The Colin Cowherd take on that story is absolutely terrible because it's even worse when you think about Joey Molinaro. If you don't know him, he's a guy that does some great impressions. And he did an impression before Colin even went on air and made this impression about Colin making fun of Baker Mayfield and saying how franchise quarterbacks don't talk about how they see alien sightings or UFO sightings. And then he ended up doing it. I'm like, oh my God. Crazy. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be a hater, but I also see, Roberts isn't the best. There are better managers out there. If Roberts wins 2 in a row with the team he has, I still think it's the team he has. I mean, Roberts needed to win before they blew up this team and just completely started throwing money at the wall, because now it's a bought team. I've said that. It doesn't make like your win any less, and I don't think like the Dodgers are like a bad team because of it, but I'm just saying like Roberts, there's a reason they're bringing in all this talent, because they have to do it in order to win with Roberts. Spencer Rattler. That's a name I've heard. You're crazy not thinking Beast Mode not making Hall of Fame. I don't know about that. Look at some of the guys who aren't in the Hall of Fame and then tell me if I'm crazy. Like Steven Jackson won't even come close to the Hall of Fame, and that upsets me, but that's the way it is. Who do you think the Rams may have to cut by the 17th? I don't really think they have to cut anybody. I mean, they could just free up all that space by getting, restructures and then trading. I don't think cutting would really help. But, I mean, if they cut anybody, I think it's going to be Brockers or Havenstein. I don't want it to be Brockers. I wouldn't mind them moving on from Havenstein and getting a more athletic pass rusher to, compete against the faster pass rushers in the league. But more athletic pass blocker to compete against the more athletic pass rushers in the league is what I meant to say. Oh, boy. Yeah, I love Steven Jackson so much. Steven Jackson's ability as a pass catcher is just so underrated. It's not talked about enough to me. He really did it all. It's getting to be that time. I know I said that a while ago, but, it is getting to be that time. Oh, man. Well, hey, appreciate you guys. It's been a lot of fun. I didn't expect to go for 2.5 hours, but here we are, 2.5 hours. So I just want to say, if you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe on YouTube. be sure to follow on wherever you saw this. Follow me on Twitter at jkbogandtsn. Follow me on Facebook. You can like the page this is being streamed on. It's the Jake Ellenbogen page. And follow me on Twitch because we're going to build up a fan base there as well. We're just going to continue to spread out until people don't want us anymore, I guess. I don't know. But appreciate you guys. If you guys are interested, I am sponsored by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping today by going over to manscaped.com, buying yourself either a ball trimmer or a nose hair trimmer. Or anything on that site. 20% off, free shipping. Use promo code JKB or use DTR. But that's going to do it. Also, if you guys want to be a member, you can join by being a member. It's $4.99 a month. I'll post the join link below, but you can also see it's below when you're on YouTube on this this particular stream. Right below it, it'll say join. You just hit that, you join. It's that simple. We've had about 8 members. We do member only live streams every month. We're going to be doing 2 this month since we're going to start this month. And then you also get access to badges. So if you see AZZA around, you see, any of those, the green, like that green shield next to their name, those are the badges. You can sign up for that. But that's going to do it for me. I'll be back on Monday. I think I'm going to take tomorrow off. That's part of the schedule. If anything crazy goes on, maybe I'll hop on. But, I think I'm going to stick to the schedule. So appreciate you guys so much. You guys take care. Have a great night.